Two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackie and Judd on SKOR North and SKORNorth.com.
Monday Statements edition of Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Judd here. You can find, by the way, if you're jonesing for 5-0 Vikings content, maybe you've already exhausted the Purple Daily stuff and you're here like a Vikings content derelict. You can find Ventline yesterday. These guys crushed it in my absence. I was cheering my wife. My wife. Her first marathon.
Yeah. This is a really, obviously, rhetorical and probably really stupid question to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. After your wife runs a marathon, which what is it, 26.2? Is that the miles, roughly? Something like that, right?
Nice job with the math there.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know. I don't know. I didn't know if it was like 24.
You don't know that a marathon is 26.2?
I thought it was sort of just ingrained in our brains.
No, I genuinely didn't. I wasn't 100%.
I'm curious real quick in the comments. Is it weird that Declan didn't know that a marathon was 26.2? Or are Judd and I being judgy?
I'm not being judgy. I'm just.
Do you guys know?
I thought it was common knowledge that it was.
Do you know how many miles are in a 5K?
Yeah, like 3.1.
Yeah, 3.1, 3.2 miles.
I have no idea.
See,
I just know on marathons.
How about a 10K?
How about a 10K? I had it double times it. But my question was, before I was obviously clowned for not knowing that, is your wife just like completely sore as bleep? Because I bet there's like some endorphin and like there's obviously like she finishes and I'm sure like the feeling of that's got to be awesome. But then you ran 26 miles. Are you just like a puddle of of soreness?
There's so many things off this. In fact, you know what? Let's come back to the marathon stuff.
Yes.
Because I actually have like a bin of topics for this.
Nice. I like that.
So we can come back to this.
Pin in that.
We'll put a pin in that, circle back.
Lactic acid talk coming up next.
Yes. Somebody hit us with. Let's start with Vikings. Let's exhaust the rest of our Viking statements. Judd, you got any you want to lead
I do
us
not
off
have
here?
a good one. I feel like I used all of my fastballs on the hour-long extravaganza. Purple. Well, my Vikings ones. I got a lot more from the last three days. But
I got
go
us.
ahead.
I got us.
You got a Vikings one. Go ahead.
We touched on this graphic like 40 minutes into Purple Daily that was sent to us on Twitter here, and I want to highlight it even further. And my statement is, despite the way that you felt in the fourth quarter as that game got tight, both of the last 2 weeks, we are witnessing the most dominant Vikings team since 1998 right now. And this graphic, I retweeted this for whoever put this together. It's a brilliantly designed Photoshop job in which they did not put their company logo on it. So it's just being like stolen and spread throughout the internet. But it shows the 6 teams since the 1970 merger that have spent the least amount of time trailing through the first 5 games. And the Vikings are 5th on this list right now, this year's Vikings team. The Saints from 2009 trailed 0 minutes in the first 5 games of the season. The 1984 Dolphins for about a minute in the first 5 games trailed. Last year's 49ers trailed for a minute 45 in the first 5 games. The Greatest Show on Turf Rams, 2.5 minutes total through the first 5 games. This year's Vikings team, only 3 minutes and 26 seconds trailing through 5 games. And the 98 Broncos, 4 minutes and 23 seconds. So those other 5 teams all went to the Super Bowl. 3 of them won the Super Bowl. The other 2 lost in the Super Bowl. So again, like I know that these games get tight in the fourth quarter and you're not quite sure what to think about Sam Darnold, and there's some valid things to poke at there. But through the first 5 games, since the 1970 merger, only 4 teams have spent fewer minutes trailing in football games. We are witnessing, and it's a lot of defense first and then some big play offense. We're witnessing something pretty incredible here through the first few weeks.
Absolutely. And the defense has been, well, aside from the second half against the Packers, it's been magnificent for the most part. The offense, and look, I get why people, the one thing I get is this. Because yes, this league every Sunday is absolutely bizarre. Game flows make no sense. I don't understand how anybody actually makes a living betting on this league in particular.
It's
because
hard, yeah.
I don't know what you pick or how you pick. I will say if you watch the Vikings consistently though, the one thing that concerns me about the last 2 weeks isn't necessarily just the results. It's what you could tell O'Connell wants versus what he's going to get at times. And that's what worries me as the season progresses a bit. But he could also now say, oh, and it's a perfect time, right? The whole self-scout. He could also say, okay, perhaps I'm pushing the gasoline a little bit too much. And therefore, I'm going to go back a bit. Now, this also, begs the question, is Aaron Jones healthy when they come back from the bye? Because his importance has been proven. But I do understand the concern after watching the offense the last 2 weeks and seeing what you get and don't get. But I do agree that on game flow, it does make no sense. These games, that Baltimore game, Cincinnati game was stupid. And by stupid, I mean unbelievably good.
And, well, that might be here's a statement for you. The Bengals are the best 1-4 team in the history of the NFL.
Well, the Gophers are the best 2-3 team.
Oh, I've got a Gopher.
We're the best 2-3 team. We're the best 2-3.
They should be 3-2 if not for those crooked refs in that Michigan game.
Well, how about the field goal?
Yeah, make him
that the kid missed against North Carolina.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, but
southpaw kicker.
Yeah, but the North Carolina game, it's that was some of the sloppiest offense. We'll get to Gophers. Dex.
My statement. Thank God the Vikings have a kicker. Something I don't think any Vikings fan has ever felt good about saying out loud. Thank God the Vikings have a kicker. Will Reichard, drilling field goals yesterday. He's 9 of 9 from field goal attempts this season, 16 of 16 for extra points, 25 kicks. Let's add them all together. 25 kicks, hasn't missed a single one so far this year, whether it's an extra point or a field goal. He was nails in that game. And finally, I feel pretty good. There's not the nervousness that senses that creeps in as a Vikings fan. And this guy's been here for five games. And I already feel really good about this dude. And I think it goes back to all of his upbringing and him also playing at Bama and an SEC school. Thank God that the Vikings finally have a kicker that you can rely upon, you aren't nervous about.
And it's the stats are one thing, but if you didn't even know the stats and you just watch the kicks, he's drilling these 50-yarders with 15 to 20 yards. They're literally crossing 3/4 of the way up the goalpost.
He's going to make
the same little baby draw every single time.
He's going to make, before it's all said and done here, 65-yarder. He's going to hit
What's
on something.
What's the record now? 66?
That's stupid.
Did Tucker hit a 66?
I don't know. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Let's see.
And if he
66, Justin Tucker, 2021.
If they play the Broncos at some point in Denver, this SOB could hit from 70.
I think he can make leg-wise. I think he can make it from 70 right now. Well, don't you guys think? If he's clearing 54-yard field goals from, he's. I don't know. There's something about his personality too. He just seems kind of. This is just what I do, man.
He also has a dog named Vinny, who I believe is also a golden doodle. So I need to be friends with Will Reichard somehow. Let me figure out how I can make this happen.
And you got the mustache win streak going here, and he's got the hair right. He doesn't get a haircut until he misses a kick.
Correct.
It's a lot in common with you guys.
And he looks like he wouldn't be cool, but he's a cold-blooded assassin, and I think his teammates love him. So that's a cool thing. Because you look at him and it's are you going to work as an accountant or are you but then you see him in the locker room and he definitely has a really, really valuable cockiness. So he's a cold-blooded kicking assassin.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been fun to watch. Okay, Judd.
All right, so I am going to pivot to Gopher football.
Pivot.
I'm going to pivot to Gopher football.
Pivot.
So can on the Vikings. And what I'm about to say is going to shock, I think, both of you and the audience. Gopher football statement, okay? It's okay to rush.
Agreed.
For a long time,
100% agree.
For a long time, I said, you beat USC, for instance, but they're really not that good. And why are you rushing?
They're ranked 11th in the country.
And why are you rushing the field? But here's where I've changed. My new stance on Gopher football is enjoy what you can. I don't think they're going to be a team that's going to be a playoff team. I think that they're going to lose key players because this Parrish kid, the SEC, like, he might stay here, but he's going to be offered huge money, right? So enjoy what you can. So if you enjoyed rushing the field following a win against the 11th ranked team, good for you. It looked like fun. It was a really nice win. It is okay. I've changed my stance on rushing the field.
Yeah, the fun police. I do think we should have some standards so that rushing the field is still a unique and fun thing that happens, like Vanderbilt, by the way. You want to see? Did you see what they did?
Yeah.
So they beat Alabama. They tore the goalpost down and they carried it to Broadway Street, downtown Nashville.
And threw
they
it.
just like brought it to the country and whiskey bars downtown Nashville.
And then they threw it in the river.
Yeah.
And then the fire department has to go fetch it out.
So like if you're Vanderbilt and you're only going to beat a number one team in the country once every century because you're Vanderbilt.
Yes, that's for sure a rush. But I'm just saying, I used to think, do you really want to do that? And you know what? No. Go for football. Enjoy what you can.
In general, let's not be sports fun police. Now, if you're playing, I think if it's a team that you have like an annual matchup against, Wisconsin or Iowa, we should have some parameters here. Like if Wisconsin's ranked 22nd and it's not a game that determines a trip to the Big Ten championship game or something, let's see. Okay, but if it's USC and you don't really play them ever and they're 11th in the country, totally fine with storming the field.
Yes. I am providing much more latitude now because I also think, though, that the enjoyment is not a lot. So if it's something to enjoy and you're a Gopher football fan or student, just enjoy it.
I'll piggyback off you with Gophers here. PJ Fleck has stones of granite. He could have kicked that field goal from the doorstep. So they tried that initial like tush push and it didn't go through. And I thought for sure, especially with his conservative nature, right? They'll just kick a field goal and they'll have a minute left to stop USC, and their defense has been playing pretty well, so they can probably trust their defense here. Tie game. And he says, no, a field goal is fine, but if we kick the ball back to those guys, then they come back, kick a field goal. Now it's overtime. We're going for the dagger. And those crooked refs that want USC and the Los Angeles market to play in the expanded college football champ, they tried to take it from the Gophers. And there's that great video clip of PJ going up sort of calmly to the official and then just flipping a switch and freaking out on him to go for it on fourth down there instead of taking the automatic 3 points to stick the dagger in was, that would have been second guessed for quite some time if it didn't work. But stones of granite for PJ. I've been critical of him so far this season, but nice job getting those guys. And dude, the Michigan game, I know that's not the same Michigan team as the national championship last year, but they got screwed on the onside kick call, so they effectively could have gone back-to-back Michigan and then USC victories there, but super fun.
What were they like? I know the first one that they had to review, that was like just very hard to see. But the second
one, like his whole body is in the end zone.
And the amount of time. I mean, my goodness, dude, he was in. It was clear as and PJ's going insane on the sidelines. And
it's
honestly,
an effing touchdown.
Rightfully so.
The score, but he said it's an effing touchdown.
Yeah.
Good God,
and he's
dude.
right. He's a hunter. He can be kind of corny sometimes and gets all defensive.
Big Ten officials are exactly the elite of the elite.
Well, they should be. You could make a case that the Big Ten is the best football conference in the country. I know there's a bunch of SEC truthers out there, but
the SEC
Alabama just got beat by Vanderbilt. Like those teams are all overinflated. So
I'm just saying,
you could make a
Big
case.
Ten officiating, and it's not always not consistently competent across the board.
Like you're standing on the goal line. What don't?
Well, I guess you can't. I guess because of the tackles and guards, you can't see as well. But the replay itself, which you can use, obviously, took like one brief look.
Well, because the problem is when they incorrectly call it the first time, now you need irrefutable video evidence.
His body moving over the goal line and then coming
back. But you can't see the football. What if the football is slide? Oh, I don't know. The football could be between his legs. We don't know.
The first one I could not tell. The first one I could not tell. Like he was just a mass of humanity there.
Yeah, I'll give him the first one. Okay, Dex.
My statement is strap in, boys, because this week of sports is some of my favorite times of the year. So we have baseball playoffs that are going on right now. You got the ALDS, which is great. Football, you're starting to get some separation here. So obviously some teams have gotten off to slow starts, but you're starting to at least somewhat weed out some of the bad teams. You know which ones are looking good, which is always fun. College football is in full force. The NHL season starts this week. Basketball preseason games are this week. Actually, I'll be in attendance in Iowa on Friday for
we're down
the
to Wells
Timberwolves
Fargo?
game.
Tilt. Let's go.
Nice building.
Yeah, I've only driven through it. I've
Nice with
never
Target
been to
Center.
Des Moines. Never been to Des Moines.
Really?
So we're spending the night Friday night in Des Moines. We're gonna go to the Wolves game. Then we're gonna drive back up to Diamond Joe Casino, which we do every year with
Yes.
my friends. So we'll be golfing somewhere in Iowa, and then Diamond Joe for the Gopher football game on Saturday and all that fun stuff.
You can give us a Dante Vincenzo scouting report then on Friday.
I'm very
By the way,
I'm
there was a
excited.
guy in the Purple Daily, the Hottest Vikings Takes live stream this morning that wanted to know Dex's opinion on the Cat trade. Did we do that on statements last week? Like, have you given your opinion on a microphone about the Cat
No,
trade yet?
I have not.
I'm putting you on the spot here. But
No, that's fine. I love it. I think it was time. I thought the timing of the trade was a little weird. Like, why didn't you just get this done earlier? But hey, deals present themselves in different times. I think eventually you're going to have to move on from Cat. Where you're going to get a better return next summer than you got right now. And I know there's some people head scratching this. I've seen both sides of this. I saw Nick Wright and both Brian Windhorst kind of have different opinions on this. But I think this was the right move to do it. And it's Anthony Edwards' team. I love what Dante can bring. You know, Julius Randle and Chris Finch also have a history, so it's not like Chris Finch is just inheriting some random dude. Like Julius Randle, he coached him, I believe, in New Orleans, correct? So there's some history there. I think this is a great trade for the Wolves. And I know a lot of Minnesota sports fans and Timberwolves fans, too, who showed up and have been season ticket holders and have stuck through it with Cat, have a loyalty and appreciation for Cat. But this is Anthony Edwards' team, man. And I think also it's still just as good of a team to make a Western Conference Finals run with or without Cat. So I love the trade. I think it was a good one for the Wolves.
Did you guys see that the dueling thank yous on the back page of the Star Tribune? On Saturday, the Wolves took out an ad, "Thank you, Cat," and on Sunday, I think it was Cat took out an ad thanking the fans here. So we just got a lot of tearful, sorrowful.
I'm going to take out
good
an ad
vibes going.
thanking Dante DiVincenzo for splashing 4 threes in the first 10 minutes of the preseason
Here we
and
got
then
Cat.
chilling.
See, Cat. I love you, people. I love you so much.
What is it? What does it say? Can you read part of it?
In 2015, I arrived in Minnesota as a young man with a dream. You welcomed me, became my family, and inspired me to be the best player I could be. A special acknowledgement to the late great coach.
He's
Fritz
not. He's
Saunders,
not the best player he could be, though.
my teammates.
Self-sabotages.
I am. You
Jim.
asked me to read this. I am not defending him.
He used to be on the same level as Embiid and Jokic, but now he's not because
I will always hold dear to my heart the memories. You, the fans, have meant the world to me and have given me strength, especially during one of my darkest times in 2020. I'll never forget your outpouring of love and support. You will always be in my heart. And you will always be my family. Thank you, Minnesota. Cat.
That's fair. That's fair.
Nice. I'm not
And
making fun
I
of it.
know-
I'm just saying they were dueling goodbyes.
I was sparring with some, I think maybe younger Timberwolves fans about like Cat was this generation's Kevin Garnett, and I just kind of like that was my Dex. Like if I had a visceral reaction, like no, I mean you can definitely say that Cat got you excited about Timberwolves basketball, but there is no this generation. Anthony Edwards
Well, right.
is this generation's Kevin Garnett.
Correct.
Yep. Yeah.
Correct.
Cat is this generation's Kevin Love.
Yeah, I think Royce's line of that is it's more accurate. It's more accurate that he's more of Kevin Love than he is Kevin Garnett was winning MVPs and defensive players and was on the upper echelon. Cat's like what? I'll defer to you guys, but Cat's what? A top 30, 40 player in the NBA? That's probably safe to say. Kevin Garnett at his prime was a top player in the NBA. Top 5.
The top
and
player.
the best player winning MVP award.
for like a year or two.
And Garnett and Ant now are dogs. Like they are dogs. Carl will never, even Carl's staunchest defenders could not say he's a dog.
Yeah.
He doesn't come close.
But
to
you know
that,
what?
so.
It's a great situation in New York with Brunson as kind of the front man there. Tom Thibodeau has done a really good job in New York.
Switch.
So this is it, man. Like, this is New York. You're closer to
Carl.
home. Carl,
We get to
ice,
hear Carl again.
ice,
Yep.
Carl.
Oh, you guys just wait. When the Knicks are back here, what, in January, December?
I think
January.
Yeah.
You just wait for the tribute, though. The video is going to be
Be a half hour long.
It's going to, and write this down.
Man.
Carl will cry.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, which I'm fine with. Like, it's.
I don't know.
I'm not trying to
blaming him. I'm
dismiss
just
like
saying
how
it's gonna be
he
very
feels
emotional.
9 years and there's some fan connection.
No.
As I told you guys on Flagrant House, Kyle in particular, I said this on the Thursday episode. I don't at all feel an emotional attachment to Cat as a player. Maybe it's just because I don't know. He's not KG. He didn't. And man, I wasn't a kid when he came in because he came in 2015.
That's a big difference.
But I would be a hypocrite if I sat here now that he was traded after hammering him for coming up short in playoff performances and his self-sabotage. Like, he's led the NBA in offensive fouls per game for 4 straight years. And I've hammered him for that stuff. I would be a hypocrite if I got all emotional and chibuty now that he's gone. Like, I think this is a great trade. I've wanted them to trade him for 2 years, and I'm not going to hide from that. So,
in fairness to the difference between like fans and what we do, though, since you started in this business, is there any player who you like are emotionally attached to? Like, there's guys I like, and there's guys, but like when you're a kid and saw KG, right?
Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah, well, and Sam Darnold, and before that, but it's hard to actually gain an emotional attachment as much so, especially because if nothing else,
I am emotionally attached to the laundry. I'm emotionally attached to Minnesota.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm emotionally attached to. I want these teams to win championships,
and that's being an adult,
the pieces tend to be interchangeable
Like
throughout
KG.
time. The players I have personally hammered the most on radio or podcasts for underachieving in some way over the years: Karl-Anthony Towns, Kirk Cousins, Miguel Sano, Andrew Wiggins for sure.
Yeah.
Trying to think of some other ones.
Ryan Suter, Zach Parise.
For you, for sure. Yeah, Ryan. Well,
I love those guys. You know that.
No. You know who's not underachieving? Finch Home Solutions.
Nope. They are not. In fact, Cody Finch and his team, they love 2 things. They love the Vikings, and they love, look at these trucks. Do they remind you of a certain team? That's right. Finch Home Solutions. They are also, thank you very much, Phil Mackey, a perfect team. They do great work. If you have any electrical issues in your home, guess what? Finch Home Solutions, they're going to come out. They're going to be fast, efficient, courteous, and the best part, they're going to be professional and get things done, big or small projects. It's fall, so you might be thinking about the old hot tub, right? It's getting to be winter. The hot tub's great. You warm up there. Guess what? If you're going to put in a hot tub, a bunch of electrical work needs to be done. Guess what? Finch Home Solutions can do that work. 612-357-2604. FinchHomeSolutions.com. FinchHomeSolutions.com. Again, big or small projects. Even Sports Dad had them in his house because that's how much he trusts them. FinchHomeSolutions.com.
Also, Purple Daily audience was asking us, where are you guys going to do and when are you guys going to do your next event? And so we have an answer for you now. Whether you're a Purple Daily listener, maybe you're just a Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd connoisseur, we're going to gather at Podrigs on Monday, October 21st from 5 to 7 p.m. for a glorious Purple Daily Unplugged recording. Hang out with you guys. There's a couple Monday night games going on that we can turn on to.
Take questions.
Take questions from the audience. Everyone in attendance, it's free to attend, by the way. You do have to register at scorenorth.com/unplugged. But everyone's going to get a free Podrigs pint glass and a free beer. So come on out Monday, October 21st from 5 to 7 p.m. Judd for Purple Daily Unplugged at Podrigs.
Going to be a great time. The first one was a ton of fun. And I will say this. I think we've stumbled upon something with this Unplugged thing because it's more relaxed than trying to do an actual show, but it's like a show. We take a ton of questions. I think we've stumbled upon something with
good
the
formula.
Purple Daily Unplugged series going on the road.
We're looking forward to it. Again, just go to scorenorth.com/unplugged to get your free tickets. Okay. here's my final statement, and you guys feel free to unload after this too, but the Twin Cities Marathon, one of the most fun local sporting events I've ever attended. So my marathon spectator experience is really only two things. It was cheering my wife on yesterday, running her first marathon, in which, by the way, she sprinted the final half mile, emptied the tank, passed a bunch of people.
That's crazy.
Just
that is crazy.
Yeah, she's in the last. I mean, she maybe ran a couple 5Ks before, like 6 months ago, and decided I'm going to do this. I'm going to challenge myself, and it's crazy, man. Like running 20 miles in training on like a Saturday morning, just the commitment. But it literally is, because it starts downtown Minneapolis and then goes around the lakes, South Minneapolis, and then up around the River Parkway. Yep. Over the Franklin Avenue Bridge, and then summit all the way across to the Capitol in St. Paul. And we hit like 7 different stops just driving around and navigating to cheer. It's literally a 26-mile stadium or arena full of people just going crazy. The only other marathon I've ever been a spectator at was the 2013 Boston Marathon. My friends and I were cheering. It was my friend's girlfriend at the time was running Boston, and we were literally a block away from the bombs going off. Like, we felt the ground shake and everything. So I had not gone to a marathon in a decade. It was a little bit of a traumatic experience, but for the audience, for you guys, like even if you're not a runner, and I don't think any of us are really runners, it is a crazy fun experience. There's live music all over the place. It's a great event. That's my statement.
So to go back to Dex's question from the top of the show, is Jana more sore now than last night?
Probably equally sore from last night. Just like, it's hard to, because your legs are heavy, and then you just got soreness, and I'm walking up and down steps is very difficult.
Okay,
but yeah, probably in better shape than I would have guessed.
Sprinting at the end is crazy. And I mean that in a complimentary way. So my niece and her husband ran it, and she said at the end, like the last six miles were pure hell. She said they done the most that they maxed out in at their training was like a month ago. They did 20 miles. Yeah. But she said the last 6, she said it was just like she didn't know if she could make it.
It's uphill. It's kind of gradual, but there's a couple other like non-gradual parts, and it's you've already run 20 miles.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But for Jana then to sprint the end of it, like I don't know how you would have that left in your tank unless you were a professional runner.
There was a guy, because there's some people that kind of dress up and whatever. There was a guy that had jeans, a flannel button-up shirt, and then like a Tim Walz like mask, and the first few miles, like, oh, it's the Tim Walz guy, right? He is Tim Walz. I saw that dude at mile probably 16 or 18. No more mask. He's walking head down, realizing jeans might have been a bad decision running.
What are you thinking? Like, if you think you're going to go the 26, you're going to wear jeans?
Oh man, it was rough. And then the leaders, dude, like the leaders are they're like sprinting for 2 hours, and
that's nuts.
And then they're done. That's the best part.
That was easy. All right.
Do you also just like down a great greasy cheeseburger or something afterwards? Like, what's the eating habit after a marathon?
So, and again, I don't have like a ton of experience, but it's funny because you think you would just be starving, but apparently that's not necessarily the case. Like, you're actually even a little bit nauseous in some ways.
Oh, sure.
Because your body just like went through this whole experience.
Yeah.
But we definitely put in a little DoorDash, a ravenous DoorDash order later on in the night.
and then Phil housed it.
I housed quite a bit.
Sorry, John, nothing's left.
Dude, even like the marathon, she got like 60,000 steps or something, or 50,000 or 60,000 for the marathon. Even as a spectator, driving 6 or 7 different stops, you park a few blocks away, you run up over here. I was tired just spectating the whole thing. I'm like, I can't complain about that because I didn't run the marathon.
I can only imagine. That'd be a lot of work.
But yeah, I don't know. It was. I've never been like a go watch a marathon for fun guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's not the first thing you would think of, but it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
And last year's got canceled because of heat, right? Because we had a Vikings game. We had an event line at Park Tavern, I think, that day, and it was like 84 degrees, and they have to there is weather advisories for running 26 miles, obviously. So
Yes.
Yeah,
crazy.
They
Man.
moved it back a week, and the weather was super mild. It was
right.
even cold for the first chunk and very windy.
Yeah.
But yeah, just awesome Twin Cities Marathon weekend. There was 5K, 10K on Saturday, and then the half, and then a 10-mile on Sunday. And
I don't know,
just,
Phil. 5K 2025.
I could do a 5K. I feel like on the marathon front, it's always been a complete
walk it.
non-starter 0.
Yeah.
But I would say it's like a 2% now for me in my life. It's gone from a 0 to a 2% after watching her crush it.
My niece had a great line to explain because, of course, the first question that you get asked the night that you run a marathon for the first time is, would you do it again? Yeah. And she had a great response. She said, I'm just not built to do this.
Yeah, that's kind of how my wife is.
My body is not built to do that.
Right.
But it's an amazing, the way that you feel.
Oh, for
and
sure.
It's such an accomplishment.
Sure. But I mean, I thought that was a great explanation.
Yeah.
Because her husband is a thin, skinny, tall guy. And she's like, he's a runner. She's like, I'm not really a runner. And I thought that's a really good explanation of it.
Yeah. So you see these people, it's miles 17, 18, and they're cramping, but you grind it out and you find your way to the finish line.
Yeah, I'd walk a 5K. And I used to, I explained my predicament of cross country and for a month in high school, but like I did 2 of those meets and I was like, I'm never doing this again. This is a racket. I'm not.
But you're so thin that I would think that you could actually, if you wanted to, run it without a problem.
It's not really about like being thin or not, though.
No, I mean, even when I did track, the one that I liked to do, that was the 400, which in my opinion is like the toughest because it's a sprint, but also you have to still
pretty
pace.
long for a sprint. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so I do not have distance running in my ability. No, I have distance walking. Can do that, no problem.
So last thing from me, Phil, did you see any of the inevitable accidents that I always read about?
I didn't see it. I saw a couple at Boston 10 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Those are also like hard. Boston's like you have to qualify to get in, so it's like people are less likely. Because there's porta potties everywhere, and so if you're casually running a marathon, you just stop if you have to go. But there's like if you're trying to win a marathon or post a time at a marathon,
you just go.
You make a decision, a business decision. Do I go? Do I stop running to jump into a porta potty, or do I just?
So it's like a pit stop.
But a lot of people choose to not take the pit stop because they want to maintain time.
I don't think that would be a fun part of watching the marathon.
I agree.
But I didn't personally see any of those such
Glad
incidents.
to hear that.
No. But
glad to hear that.
Sure there were a couple. So anyways, those are statements.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
On a Monday here. Yeah. Roll the boat, Sky Yamaha, go Gophers, baby.
And go
Best
ahead.
3-3 team in the country.
Go ahead. Storm the field.
Agreed.
Have fun.
What other games
Enjoy
could
the
we potentially
tailgates.
storm the what's
Enjoy
the rest
the
of the
tailgates.
Let's see here.
Do they have Ohio State this year?
That's not at home though, is it?
That's not a home game. I think you're right.
They actually don't get Ohio
God,
State.
they've had what 4 or 5 home. How many home games do they have left? 1 or 2?
Like
2.
one.
Yeah.
2.
Well, okay. Penn State is currently 4th.
Oh,
Okay,
then that's
yeah.
a stormer.
You could storm the field
stormer.
at
That's a stormer.
That's a stormer.
How about at Illinois? Would you storm the opposing field? How many
That
Gopher
why
fans?
That probably
can
wouldn't
be?
work
The
out too well
23rd.
for you. That probably wouldn't work. Who's the
other home game?
Home game against
Maryland.
Nah.
Can't
Probably
storm
not.
Maryland.
Nah.
Now they're not
Probably not.
awful, but they're not a stormer.
They're not ranked though, so it's
No, they're not.
tough. So those are your statements here on Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Judd. We'll do a scoop session tomorrow with our friend Darren Doogie Wolfson, and then tons of Viking stuff on your Purple Daily podcast feed from yesterday and today. See you guys.